Okay, hello. Welcome to Slide Slam, sponsored by Pack Mocha. All right, my name is Christophe Lima. I am a visual artist from Long Island. I was not born here. I was born in Queens. I moved here in 2014. I am currently also teaching, showing all over New York, and I'm affiliated with Patchogue Arts Council and Sea of Visibility, which is a grassroots effort to support expression through the arts. Okay, so going back to when I moved here, I had started doing pieces like this on crumply packaging paper, and they were both, the whole series was about grieving. I was grieving a family loss, and I was grieving a whole lifestyle from moving from the city to the suburbs. This piece in particular, Vulnerability, is an extrapolation on feeling vulnerable during a time of change. I have a physical manifestation of a lot of emotions, and I feel vulnerability very much through the back of my body. Okay, moving on to Fledgling 2. This is one of two, kind of a mini series inside of a much larger series. This is also about grieving, but more from the point of view of grieving like life as it goes by, which is going to be a repeating subject that I'm going to go back to, and you'll see that in just a couple more slides. This one I was grieving watching family members grow up, the young ones, little guys. So I kind of focused in on that. So this is a little fledgling that's passed. Moving on, we come to, I'm glad I have it written there, 2018. This is a time in my life where, again, a tremendous amount of upheaval because I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. And it had changed the way that I lived, and it was a very, very difficult 6 or 8 months that I was still completing artwork through. So I felt a lot like I was masked, and that like my identity was very much in question. And I was trying to squish myself into a box. That disorder found its way into my thyroid. It started, attacking my thyroid, which is located here, hence the little bits of string that I used. Sewing and adding things to canvases, it's useful for me to show different kinds of emotions and things like that. So this piece in particular is important in its weirdness because as soon as I found my artistic voice, I felt like I was losing it because I was so sick all the time from the thyroid. So that manifested this way. And then I did take a break because I had to reinvent myself and to get better and to, take medicine and convalesce, which is when we come to this, the fact of being. And during a convalescent phase, you question who you are, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was questioning who I was, and I didn't feel like myself. I felt like a scaffolding of myself. So then I created this. This is very large, 4 foot by 5 foot, so I could put my whole body into the making of this painting. And there it is. I felt very much like I was being pulled back and forth from one side to another. It's not getting better from being sick isn't a smooth transition. Sometimes it, just like grieving or anything else, it can be a bit of a roller coaster. Then finally, at the end of this convalescent process, I started putting myself back together. And so what's really interesting about this, that kind of circles back to the first couple of slides, the crumply paper ones, is the use of packaging material. It's like I think that life and death is something that we move through and that we transport ourselves through. So, packaging and like package delivery sort of, I made that connection there. On this, I'm also using mirrors up here. This is to state that I'm reflecting on myself and I'm reflecting on life, and I am the reflection of the things that have happened. to me and around me. And that was at the end of 2019. And finally we come to 2020. I had fully convalesced. Everything was moving swimmingly. COVID-19 happened. Yay, we're still here a year later. So I made a series that was shown in Huntington Arts Council in September, October of this year. It's called Hypoxia. So this is more of an examination of human beings and our relationship to nature. Nature can be beautiful and forgiving and incredibly cruel, and we can't ignore that. So this is another huge piece that, you know, goes along with that symbiotic kind of nature. Then this is a very tiny piece, 10 by 7. I like to play with scale. I felt that during our time of being home and not being able to go the places that we go and not being able to see the family that we were seeing, that we were sort of planting ourselves like a seed. So I made a little seed head. And we're just sort of, some of us are still waiting to not be a seed anymore and bloom and blossom. Just an interesting note, what hypoxia is what happens to you when your body loses oxygen, and you tend to like start turning blue, cyanotic blue, and purple around the fingers, toes, and lips. I had reversed that because I felt like, you know, we're all kind of in a point, particularly in June and July with BLM, in a place where we can't breathe. That seemed to be the mantra of 2020. And so this one was done on April 3rd, so right in the beginning of the shutdown. And this is right at the end of the summer. This is a hexagonal piece. I built that myself, and it took forever. And I'm very proud of it because those angles are very difficult. This is a piece that I started with the idea that I would examine the idea of safety. So what does safety mean? You know, like you're thinking of vaccines and you're thinking of home. Home seemed to be the safest place. Home was the safest place and continues to be at this point as far as getting away from viruses and everything else. So the idea of safety comes from sort of like that beginning of like that childhood safety, like someone's arms wrap around you, a parent or a loved one, an older person. And you just, you know, you feel that love that you can feel down into your bones, and that's a very calming sensation. And again, another repeating subject is the back. That's vulnerability again. Children, they are vulnerable. And then I went off into a tangent on the idea of safety, and that's the idea of sleep. Sleep is very safe for me. Like the bed is a very safe spot. It's warm and snoogly, and you know, it's like a womb in a lot of ways. So I started putting people, I think they're female, I'm not 100% sure, into these kind of these bed sleeping, very repetitive and anxiety-soothing places. And then finally, this is at the end of 2020. Again, a lot of treatment of the background and the surface area. I really like doing that. I don't like flat. It's got to be visually interesting. And this one, as beautiful as it is a little, the coloring I think is a little creepy in the walls, but that's because I don't like yellow. And what I like about this is that the pillows are reflecting what the figure's doing. And they're, you know, drawing close and just being safe and snuggly. Okay, and that is that. We're done.